Welcome back to Season 3 of Expedition Bigfoot. I'm your host Aggie.
We start out this exciting episode with Russell, who gets a heat trace in the woods and thinks whatever it is peeking out from behind the brush, but then it disappears. Russell then decides that he is going down and get a closer look in the area to get a closer look and search for evidence. When he arrives at the location that he believes it was in, he cannot find anything, no heat traces or footprints, and Russell believes the creature doesn't want him to find it. He doesn't know what he saw on the thermal, so he decides to use some tracking burbs that will stick to anything that crosses its path, and then he will be able to use his phone to track the burbs and capture the creature. The burbs can track anything within a quarter of a mile once stuck to a creature. He is using 8 of them. Later that evening, Russell returns to check the burbs. They are still there. Something did go through recently. Wait, hold one second, one of them have gone missing. The signal was lost, so it was outside of the contact range. Russell thinks it was large because he placed the burbs more than 3 feet above the ground, and adult bears don't grow that tall. Now he has to chase it down. It is on the move and moving fast. He says that he can pinpoint it as soon as he gets a signal. Russell is hot on the trail as he climbs up the mountainside. When he is on an animal trail, he notices that it has a lot of traffic, then he gets a signal that he is hot on the trail of the tracking burb. He gets close to it and decides to chase it down. As soon as he tries to follow it, he loses the signal. He then decides that he is going camp 20 to 30 feet off the trail to see if the creature returns. As soon as he dozes off, he gets a signal that it returned and is right in front of them. The tracker says that it is only 100 feet away from them. Russell says that he is almost face to face with it and that he is going to be face to face with it. As soon as they get 15 feet away from it, they are going to hit it with the light. As soon as they get right on top of it, Russell thinks it is in a tree and is not moving. But then Russell discovers that the tracker fell off and the creature is gone, but the tracker has black hair on it. Russell is upset that the creature has outsmarted him every step of the way, but he needs to know what the creature is, and since he has a hair sample he can find out. He says that he is on the path of something huge, and the creature was right there.
Moving on, we go to Bryce, who thinks they found evidence of Bigfoot in the area. He reminiscences about the evidence they collected so far in the investigation, especially the vocalizations near base their camps that the teams picked up, and he believes it sounded like the Sierra sounds. He then discusses how Russell found some strange structures, and how Ronnie and Maria smelt urine in their base camp, and how Russell discovered a train tunnel with white light and where he captured a thermal video. Bryce concludes that he wants to focus all the investigation into a certain area. He then goes to speak to a witness about the strange lights named Bruce Starr, a member of the Muckleshoot Nation. Bryce believes he may have information about the strange lights in the area. Bruce relays a story about from the elders, which says local legend is not to follow them, they will make you go into the woods further and get lost. Bryce says it's true, as Russell was almost lured to a drop-off on a cliff and believes that he may have been a victim of the killer lights from outer space itself. Bruce says they pick and choose who they want to lure. He then states he saw a Bigfoot one time while he was hunting with his brother. In a field, he saw a stump that moved. He pulled up a scope to get a closer look at it, and it looked like a man with hair all over it. He was like, "Wah," the whole time he was looking at this hideous monster. Then the monster screamed and sounded like a woman screaming at a horror movie, almost like a banshee would scream before it took a man's soul, and Bruce ran into the woods and got lost. He claims that he never got lost before in the woods. Finally, he walked out of the woods 9.5 miles away from where he was supposed to be. He claims Bigfoot plays mind tricks with people. Bryce says it probably is true, since Ronnie and Maria got lost in the woods a few days back, and then Bruce tells Bryce to stay away from these creatures. Bryce calls a woman who claims that she had a Bigfoot experience and then had a run-in with the feds who tried to silence her. She claims while hiking on a trail, she saw 3 huge trees blocking the trail. Her children were stone cold in fear, and the trail was Sasquatch high up in a tree. She described it as a huge man with almond-shaped black eyes, weighing in at 1,000 pounds, standing in the trees, glaring at her and her children. She walked up to the creature and it started to rock back and forth. She told the children to get to the car. After getting into her car, her daughter told her that she videotaped the incident. Later, they showed the tape to the fish and game agent, who arrived within 5 minutes after calling. It seemed odd. She showed the video to the agent, who repeatedly watched the video. She then called her supervisor and then texted him and then reported that it was only a bear. She was told by the agent that there are bear and an orangoutan that escaped 2 years ago in the area. She believes that all evidence is being suppressed. Bryce thinks the government is suppressing Bigfoot information. She was told not to contact the media and that the government is covering it up. She says the government can't control it, so they will not acknowledge it.
Ronnie and Maria discover some scat and Maria believes that it's cat scat. They are reaching the upper end of the water source, but it's dried up and gets refilled after the snow melt in the spring. The two then decide to keep moving upwards. Maria thinks it's good to have dense forest as it's a sign of safety for animals. Ronnie thinks he found some tree structures that look like teepee or a tree structure placed with intent. Ronnie thinks 2 of these in the same location are not coincidences. He sees the length of branches are similar. Maria looks around and informs Ronnie that they are all attached to the ground and it's a natural occurrence. It looks like trees have fallen, she says, and does not want to research it any further. Ronnie still thinks it's a Bigfoot structure and wants to argue with her about it. Maria thinks Ronnie will see Bigfoot or tree structures if he looks hard enough. They reach a clearing and Ronnie thinks he has an idea. He is going to meditate, and if there are any Bigfoot sightings there will be UFO sightings, glowing lights, as some people think Bigfoot are aliens. He wants to meditate and see if he can channel Bigfoot. Maria thinks it's cool if he can do it. As he does this, Ronnie feels an energy shift and it gets cold. He believes this will provoke a reaction from Bigfoot. Maria searches the river for clues. Ronnie says that according to Bruce Starr, Bigfoot and the glowing light chooses who they want to connect with. You can use your breathing to slow your heart rate and mind and be in peace. Oh, wa goose I am. After a few minutes he feels a presence like someone is touching his forehead and a sensation that something is nearby like. Ronnie is going to walk and then stop to see if something is moving along with them. He then hears a crashing noise as something landed nearby him. He says that meditating and something being thrown is a threat, and evidence that Bigfoot is throwing things at them to tell them not to get closer. He is going to go towards it anyways and is not going to stop him. Maria finds fresh bear scat and it's a big bear. She is feeling uneasy, as she has never seen so much evidence of predators in one area and she feels like prey. There is evidence of bear everywhere and it's recent. She then sees a light in the center of the forest and it is a big burst of light. All she can see is a perfectly structured light in a horizontal line pouring through the trees. She decides to point her light at it. It goes off and on as she turns her light off and on. She doesn't think it's a reflection from a structure because no buildings are nearby. Something again is thrown at Ronnie and he says they are rocks being thrown at him. He says it's a warning not to cross the line. He calls Maria to tell him of the assault. Maria tells him about the light in the trees. She wants to know if they see the light as it has disappeared. Then the light begins moving between the trees and it is orange flashing. The lights were getting bigger. She thinks maybe trail cams are set up in the area. She tries to make her way to the light source. Ronnie thinks something is being aggressive and hostile towards him. Maria finally makes her way to him. Ronnie says the creature is making the rules because he crossed the line into Bigfoot territory. Maria thinks something is moving out there and something is standing and he cannot see it. Maria thinks she sees eye shine reflecting amber. They chase after it. That will do it for this week. Hope to see you next week.
As a reminder, Keith will be at the Forest County Bigfoot Festival, June 10th, 11 and 12. He has a plethora of items for sale, including pins, signs, and car decals, and if you cannot make it, you can find the items on eBay. There is something for everyone: Bigfoot, UFO, and ancient aliens. Heath hopes to see you there. Have a safe weekend.
Thank you for watching. As always, please subscribe to our channel. Please like, comment, subscribe and share. See you next week.